We sold the house, we sold the car, we sold the boat. We left our kids. This isn't working anymore.
Well, Carrie, I think the only thing we can do is quit RV life.
Well, this is a video about true cost of RV ownership. We decided we'd get a small RV. They're hard to find, like Lucille here in the back, and see the North America. We've been all around the world, but we wanted to see what our country, America, is all about. So this video is about the true cost of a 6-week on the road adventure, to say the least. And it's got some good information on it. If you have problems on the road, breakdown, one of the real issues is if you break down in a certain town, how do you know who's a good mechanic? You don't. And most of them are so busy, you might have to wait weeks before it can be finished, unless you're real lucky. So we bought this used, Lucille used, and we knew that we could run into some issues with it, but we never realized or thought for a moment that with only 60,000 miles on it, that we would have problems with the suspension and the rear end, the differential. And so this is the story about this adventure and what it cost us for 6 weeks because of the repairs and everything around it for 6 weeks on the road. But I think now finally after this, although it cost a pretty penny, that Lucille here is ready for continued work and we can finally trust her that she'll be safe on the road. She needed a lot of attention, and I never realized it. I thought she'd be in pretty good shape. But it's always a surprise. So if you're going to get an RV, even if you buy a new one, because when we were on the road, a lot of people said they were having all kinds of mechanical problems with brand new chassis, and especially the vehicle itself. The house, the RV portion, plumbing, wiring, cabinet doors falling off, peeling walls, leaky windows, window shutters falling off, everything. So even though you get it new, I think you're better off actually buying it used, knowing you're going to put a bunch of money into it anyway and get it right, knowing you did the work. And that's kind of what I'm going to continue now that we got the undercarriage all done. So hopefully this helps people realize, if you get something, get it used, in my opinion, and just count on getting some work done and get it done to your satisfaction. Enjoy. And at the end, you'll see the price tag. Thanks for watching. Flashers on? I don't know what happened. At least we're off the road. There's Lucille over here. After 2 months at the garage, getting a lot of things fixed that I'll go over, Lucille is back on the road. We lost a hubcap along the way, and I'll have to find one and replace it either at a junkyard or find it online. Okay, so I have the film from the actual incidences about the problem with that rear driver's side wheel. You can see how dirty and mucky it is. That's from differential oil, grease, that was leaking out because there was a seal issue. Then to take a look, we put new spacers on. Look how beefy those are. And I'll show you the old ones. They were toys. But after replacing that rear seal twice, I came to the conclusion there's something wrong with that entire rear end. Likely a tube was bent. And so I elected just to take it to a very reputable garage that I like here in North Dakota. I thank God we got it back to North Dakota, and right in the city where Gunch's garage is. So I thought I'd show you a few things that were repaired and talk about, sometimes, you know, RVing gets a little expensive. Okay, that's true about any car, I guess. But anyway, there's a lot of weight on it in the back, as you can see. But, you know, it's got all brand new rear end. I mean, the whole rear end is new. It's got leaf helpers on it, new Bilstein shocks, new spacers, new Bora spacers, very, very good spacers. It has also leaf helpers. I might have mentioned that. The springs, the leaf helpers, the entire rear end, the alignment, the sway bar was rattling around. So anyway, I'm gonna get this other camera out. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. That's a light on the left side, so I can show you some of these pieces that were replaced. But this is back to some RV info, little helpful stuff. So, okay, I'm gonna start on the culprit here, driver's side rear wheel. As you can see, on this wheel, we have put in an extremely well-built spacer. Look at the thickness on that thing. All very strong, I think it's T6, I could be wrong, aluminum. But the spacers before where they went into the wheel were just paper thin, ridiculous. And like I said, I have to get a new hubcap for this. See if I can get in on behind here with this to show the leaf spring helpers that were put on to help improve the stiffness, or it had a lot of lean on the corners. And I think that was partially shocks. And, you know, I haven't put a super big Hellwig sway bar on here, but I thought I'd try these first and see how we do. It raised it up a good 2 inches, and it's doing pretty well all the way back here. See, this is a Hellwig leaf helpers, which are very good leaf helpers. And I'll have to check on these once in a while. And so then on to the shocks. Well, first off, actually, I'll do before the shocks, I'll do the sway bar up front. Linda's on video. She never likes to go on video, but she comes in and she's always on video. She's the navigator of the RV, so very key position. He's also planter of the garden. So I'm gonna get down here as an old man and show the on the front here what we found out. You can see right here how they said this was completely wore out and almost off. Same with this. So this whole sway bar was in tough shape. So we put new bushings, I guess you can call it, on this sway bar and all of that. So this was just banging around, rattling, and I believe you can see the Bilsteins back there. So I'll show those, and you can see we did put a Safety Plus. This was on here when we bought it. I have to check to see if I should replace the actual cylinder or what, but I really have nothing to know if it has done some good or not. So yeah, Bilstein's back there, bushings, everything. So on we go. The old man grunts. Now, this is what's interesting. Also, rattling around up there, besides that sway bar, when they put on the Bilsteins here, you can see the Bilsteins up top, and get this back on. Huh. Well, that's all it'll go. But I think you should see it well. The Bilsteins, when they install them, they notice down here at the bottom, hopefully you can see that, the mount was completely broken off. So the bottom of the shock was just rattling around, and take a look at the welding they did on that. That's amazing. And we had an oil change. Everything looks really clean down here. And the Bilstein on the other side. And so it just handles like a new vehicle. Okay, on to the rear end and rear shocks. Okay. Now, you can see the brackets for the Hellwig leaf helpers and the airbags. But you can see by the tube, the limited amount of dirt on this and rust. This is an entirely new rear end. Brand, the whole thing. Don't have to worry about tubes broke or any of it. I don't know if you can see behind the tire for the spacers. I think the brake will be in the way. But they're Bora spacers. And the Bilsteins, you can see, let me see if I can get underneath there a little bit. The Bilsteins in the back. So, if one, and then all new brakes, everything cleaned and ready to go. You can take a look over there looks brand new because these are rusty, but that's where all the oil was over there. And this whole brand new rear end. And everything else is in good shape. So now it's actually the RV it should be. Reliable, brand new rear end, all the pieces. I'm going to continue working on it on the inside and some little tweaky things. But, you know, this kind of work, you need to have lifts. You need to have a lot of muscle to put rear ends in and transmission, all that big stuff. I just take it to these guys. They're very good. So that's the status of Lucille, and her whole undercarriage is virtually all new rear end, completely reliable. So RVing is not really cheap, and it's not the freedom that Bob Wells says. You know, a lot of things can go wrong, and for some of these people that can't afford $8,000, you know, for the work that was done here. And actually, because the bearing in the back wheel was replaced twice, it's $10,000. But we bought it for a price, even with the $10,000. And the work I intend to do, you know, like getting rid of this hot water heater, redoing the bunks inside, so I could put like a Truma combi or something in here, and quieter, so it's much quieter heater. So we'll move on. Thank you, Lucille. I think, and she handled beautifully on the 150-mile trip back up here into the garage. Well, that's it for now. And we'll get her out on the road pretty soon and have videos of Lucille on the road again.